Hello and welcome to this tutorial on making a Jazz UserTrack in RealBand in less than 10 minutes. I'm going to take you through the few simple steps to making a UserTrack. First though, I'll just explain a little bit about RealBand and Band-in-a-Box and explain just what UserTracks are. First of all, Band-in-a-Box is an auto accompaniment program that lets you create backing tracks for any song in any style just by typing in the chords, picking from over 1,000 possible styles, setting the tempo, and pressing play. RealBand comes free with any purchase of Band-in-a-Box for Windows and is a full-featured digital audio workstation, or DAW. You can record multiple audio and/or MIDI tracks with full editing capabilities. And in addition to that, it also has all of the auto accompaniment features that Band-in-a-Box has. Like in Band-in-a-Box, you can also type in chords, pick a style, set the tempo, and RealBand will automatically generate backing tracks for you in any key over any chord progression. And that's exactly what I've done with this song. I just typed in these chords, picked this style, set the tempo, and pressed generate. All of these instruments you're hearing were then created based on my chords. They're real tracks, which means that they are real instruments played by real musicians and can play over any chord progression you enter into RealBand or Band-in-a-Box. Now, new with Band-in-a-Box and RealBand 2014, we've added UserTracks. These are like real tracks, but you, the user, can create your own. You simply record your own instrument, and Band-in-a-Box can then use that over any chord progression in Band-in-a-Box, just like the real tracks. And with this track, that's exactly what I've done. I created this ukulele user track myself in under 10 minutes. There are many great ways that you can benefit from UserTracks creation like this. You can use your own UserTracks as songwriting tools, playing your own grooves, but being instantly able to change the chord progressions, keys, tempos, etc. as you're writing. You can share or trade them with other Band-in-a-Box or RealBand users using the pgmusic.com forum, or you can sell UserTracks as a third-party product that can be used in Band-in-a-Box or RealBand by customers. So now I'm going to go back in time a bit and show you exactly how I made this ukulele UserTrack. So I'm about to make a ukulele UserTrack, and the steps of making UserTracks include: Step 1, downloading our 1-minute UserTracks template. Step 2, picking the style and tempo you want to record at and giving your UserTrack a name. Step 3, playing and recording your instrument playing over a short, simple chord chart. Step 4, saving your file in the correct location and format, at which point the UserTrack is finished, and you can then go to Step 5. Use your completed UserTrack. So step 1 is to download our 1-minute UserTracks template. There are two different 1-minute templates, one for pop and one for jazz. So in this case, we're going to go for the jazz one. You can either get these from your Band-in-a-Box folder, and even though we're using RealBand here, RealTracks, RealDrums, and UserTracks are all stored and accessed in the Band-in-a-Box folder. By default, C, BB, RealTracks, UserTracks, UserTracks templates. Or you can download them from our website. Either way, they're in a zip file which you have to extract to C, BB, RealTracks, UserTracks. This may be in a different location if you didn't install to the default location. For example, if you installed Band-in-a-Box to D Music Programs BB, you would put the folder in D Music Programs BB RealTracks UserTracks. Step 2 is to pick the style and tempo you want to record and also to give your UserTrack a name. To give the UserTrack a name, simply rename this folder from Jazz UserTracks 1-minute template to whatever you want your UserTrack to be named. In my case, I'll call it Jazz Ukulele. I'm going to record just a very simple ukulele UserTrack to show you that you can make UserTracks quickly and easily, whether you're playing a very simple part, which is what I'll do here, or a more complex part if you want to. Whatever musical level you're at, you can make UserTracks. If I look in this folder, you can see that it contains two files, song1mjazz1.sgu and song1mjazz1chart.pdf. The SGU is a Band-in-a-Box song file, and the PDF is a chord chart that you can print out just in case you aren't right in front of your computer when you're recording. So next we open the file Song 1M Jazz 1 in RealBand. It will, by default, have a jazz swing style with drums, bass, piano, and guitar set to 140 beats per minute. But you can change this to whatever Band-in-a-Box style you like at whatever tempo. It's easy to find the style you want to do by going into the Style Picker and just double-clicking on styles to sample what they'll sound like. For example, if you wanted to record a bossa UserTrack, you could pick a style like this to record along to. Or one of our smooth jazz styles, or an Afro-Cuban bolero, or any other from our collection of hundreds of jazz styles. If you wanted to make a hard rock user track, you could pick a style like this to record along to. But we have a different template for pop, rock, or country that uses keys and chord progressions that are more common in those genres. We have another video, how to make a pop Band-in-a-Box user track as well, that you can check out. That video shows how to actually make user tracks right in Band-in-a-Box, so that's also a good one to check out even if you're interested in making jazz user tracks. For mine, I'll stick with jazz swing at 140 beats per minute, but since I'm recording ukulele, I probably don't need guitar, so I'll pick this piano trio. Let's listen to a little bit of that style playing over these chords. The other thing you can do before recording is print out the PDF that's also in that folder. If you're recording in Band-in-a-Box or RealBand, the chords display on the screen as you're playing them, but you might like to actually have a physical copy of the chart in front of you as well. You can see that there are minor 7th chords, dominant 7th chords, major 7th chords, and half diminished or minor 7 flat 5 chords. And it's in the key of B flat for 8 bars, then C for 8 bars, then E flat, and then G. Once I record this short chart, I'll have enough material for a working UserTrack style. So I'm at the third step, which means I'm now ready to record. If you're recording with a microphone, you should be wearing headphones to make sure the backing tracks don't bleed into the mic. You want the resulting recording to only have your instrument on it. If, like I'm doing here, you're plugged directly in, for example, an electric guitar, bass, or keyboard, you don't have to worry about that. So I'll start recording. So, the recording is finished. If I wanted to go back and fix certain parts, if I wasn't happy with some of the bars, I could highlight the region I want to fix and go to punch in. But I'll keep what I've got here for now. So, step 4 is to make sure the files are all where they're supposed to be. I now have my ukulele recorded on the audio track. I'll listen back to a bit of it. And here it is, soloed. So now we have to save the track we recorded as its own separate audio file. It can either be a WAV file or a WMA file. The easiest way to do this is to use the handy drop station. You see that if I drag the track to the drop station and I move my mouse over these four corners, they change to orange to indicate what kinds of files I'd get if I dropped them there. I could pick WAV, but I'd like a smaller file, so I'll pick WMA. I'll then put RealBand in DAW plugin mode, which basically minimizes RealBand but keeps it on top, so I can then drag from the drop station to that Jazz ukulele folder I made. And there's my file. Now this file needs to be the same name as the corresponding Band-in-a-Box SGU file, so I'll do that. And that's it. I've now made a brand new ukulele user track. And now for the cool part. Step 5 is actually using the user track. I'll press New to get a blank song. As I mentioned before, the template song had chords in the keys of B flat, C, E flat, and G. But you can enter songs in any key, so I'll set the key to A flat and I'll start entering some chords. F minor 7 at bar 1, and I'll enter 2 chords in bar 2, G minor 7 flat 5 and C 7 flat 9. Now you may notice that we didn't record any examples of 7 flat 9 chords in the template. So in these cases, RealBand will simply play the best available option, so it will find an example of C7 instead to play. If you want your user track to be able to actually play C7 flat 9 chords, no problem, just record more material with 7 flat 9 chords in the song and add it to your user track. The great thing about UserTracks is that you can record an easy and quick user track like this, and then later on, if you want to add more material, you don't need to redo what you've already done. You just add to it by adding more SGU and WAV or WMA files to the same folder. Whenever you add more files like that, they're automatically added to the user track. I'll keep going here with F minor again at bar 3, B flat minor 7 and E flat 7 at bar 4, A flat major 7, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, G minor 7 flat 5, C 7 flat 9, F minor 7. I'll duplicate those 8 bars, and I could keep going, but I'll leave it at those 16 bars for now. We could pick a different style, but I'll just leave the jazz piano trio that I recorded with. So I'll first generate those tracks, and now I'll select an unused track and select a user track. You can see that since we gave our folder the name Jazz Ukulele, and there is at least one combination of SGU and WAV or WMA, it recognizes this as a usable user track, and I can select it. And here we have my ukulele user track playing over this completely different chord chart. So you can see in less than 10 minutes I was able to go from scratch to a working user track. You can also change the name of the user tracks very easily. All you have to do is rename the folder. I called mine Jazz Ukulele, but if I wanted it to follow the same naming convention as other user tracks and RealTracks, I could name it with the instrument name first, ukulele, then the type, rhythm, as opposed to, say, finger-picking, background, etc., then a descriptive name, say jazz quarters, since I pretty much played quarter note rhythms throughout, Tobin, which is my name, SW140 for swing eighths at 140 beats per minute. Some other things about the contents of this folder. You may notice that in addition to the PDF, SGU, and audio files, there are now some other files that have automatically been added. RealBand creates these files the first time you use any user track. The BT1 and BT2 files should be left there, but you don't need to worry about them at all. They're written once, and from then on they just make the user tracks generate a little more quickly. If you did remove them for any reason, Band-in-a-Box would just rewrite them the next time, so it wouldn't be a big deal. Options.txt can be edited too. That file just contains some information about the user track, such as an overall tempo for the style, whether it's a waltz, what equivalent MIDI patch would be used, and whether it's even or swing. Most of this information is taken from the Band-in-a-Box file, so you likely don't even need to worry about this file at all, but you can change this if you like by simply editing the file. An interesting thing about the tempo is that if you're using multiple songs in a single user track, They actually can be different tempos and it will still work. So if I happen to make another Band-in-a-Box file with audio ukulele track, but I record it at 120 beats per minute instead of 140, and I put it in this folder, it will still work. Generally though, we'd recommend recording all material for any one user track at the same tempo, for consistency. Memo.txt has the memo for this style. So for example, if I change this and type in simple jazz ukulele with quarter note rhythm throughout, ukulele was recorded using direct input. I can then save this file, and when I go back into RealBand and go back into the UserTracks picker, we can see that the name has now changed since we changed the name of the folder. And here we can see the memo I added. And now that I've done all of this, it's automatically been added to Band-in-a-Box as well. I'll go into Band-in-a-Box and quickly type in a new progression. G minor 7, and I'll let that go for 2 bars. C minor 7, D7, G minor 7, and G7. C minor 7, G minor 7, D7, G minor 7, and D7 again. And I'll just copy those 16 bars. And you certainly don't need to stick to the tempo you recorded at. Band-in-a-Box and RealBand are easily able to change tempo of any audio, including RealTracks and UserTracks. So why don't I set the tempo to 220 beats per minute. I'll pick a gypsy jazz style for this one. You can see that this style just has acoustic bass and 2 rhythm acoustic guitars. So why don't I replace one of these with this ukulele? And here we have my new ukulele user track, playing at a completely different tempo over completely different changes with a completely different band. For more information on making user tracks, you can go to www.pgmusic.com/usertracks1.htm. There are more template options here, as well as further tutorials for more advanced user tracks creation. But you'll be amazed at how quickly you can get your own user track working in Band-in-a-Box and RealBand with this simple method that I've shown you. And once you have user tracks, you can share them with your friends just by giving them the user tracks folder you made, or you can share them with the world online or at our user tracks forums, or sell them as third-party products. For more information in general about Band-in-a-Box, visit www.pgmusic.com or www.bandinabox.com. Have fun!